Back to the top story this hour. Large parts of Pretoria East are without power this morning, and that's after the collapse of the 132 kV power lines that fell on the N4 freeway last night. For more on this, we're joined by the City of Tshwane Spokesperson, Mr. Selby Bokaba. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and maybe if you could start by explaining what exactly led to the collapse that has now led to the closure of the N4 in Tshwane.
Good morning, and the viewers. We have not yet ascertained what caused the collapse of those 132 kV power lines on the N4. The team went out last night to go and investigate, and it was difficult for them to make an assessment due to the inclement weather. They went back this morning. As I'm talking to you, they are on site trying to assess what may have led to the collapse of those power lines. But what is clear is that what we know is that there are about 6 power lines that have collapsed.
Tell us about the areas that have now directly been affected by the collapse of these power lines. We did say parts of Pretoria East, but are you able to give us a sense of the exact parts of Pretoria East that are affected so that residents of the city are aware of what's happening?
Yeah, actually, I've just established now that there are more areas that are affected than what we initially thought was the case. So it goes beyond Pretoria East. There are parts of Pretoria North that are also affected. Queenswood, Montana, that area. A whole lot of Pretoria East, Equestria, Moreleta Park, Waitroof, Vapatrand, the whole of Mamelodi, ESRS, Waldlu, Silverton, and we're trying to establish if there are parts of Centurion that are affected. I'm aware of 2 now, Littleton and the Woves. We're trying to establish how many more areas. So we will issue another comprehensive statement after we had ascertained the number of areas that are affected.
You have indicated that the weather will be quite a problem when it comes to the repair work that needs to take place to get some kind of restoration. But given the areas that you've just listed, it's quite a bit of them and people are obviously going to get frustrated. Are you able to give a ballpark time frame at which point there will be some form of restoration? Could it be today or will it take a couple of days, for example?
I think it's too early now to give that estimation of time for restoration. The team is still on the ground. I will touch base with them. Actually, I'm going to visit the site as well. I think once we are there later during the day, we will be able to inform our customers about the estimated time for restoration. It's too early now. And again, as you've mentioned, because of the inclement weather, it makes it difficult for technicians to work on the electricity grid.
And I know you mentioned this a little bit earlier in our discussion, Mr. Selby Bokaba, but just to clarify for our viewers, you are still investigating what was the exact cause of this collapse, but there is no indication from your team or any stakeholders that are on the ground that any criminality was involved in this collapse.
Well, anything is possible, but we don't want to speculate at this juncture. There could have been an element of vandalism. There could have been an element of cable theft, but I don't want to venture into that space now until we have actually verified through investigations what was the cause and when are we likely going to restore power. We would like to apologize to our consumers for the inconvenience caused, and we hope that we will be able to speedily resolve the problem.
Thank you very much for that update. We'll let you get to the scene of that particular incident, and so you can get us further clarity on the exact damage and the timeframes we are looking at as residents of Tshwane. That is Tshwane spokesperson Selby Bokaba indicating that it's more than just Pretoria East that was affected. Other areas in Pretoria North affected as well. Some of those including Mamelodi, Vaucluse, Silverton, Silver Lakes. We've got Glen, Equestria, Mooikloof, Doornpoort, Waterval, Grootvlei East, Grootvlei West, Bultfontein, Rooiwal, Vastfontein Extension, and others that have been affected there. So no indication as to when there'll be restoration to power in those areas, but he's making his way there. And we've got reporter Pulela Chwiti Jones, who will be on location a little later on and will be giving us live updates of the extent of the damage and what exactly is happening in terms of mop-up operations.